Hi there, come on in. It is Thursday night, November 16th. Whoa, the second day of Michigan's firearm deer season. We're going to have a report on deer season next week. This week we're going to look at the fun of deer hunting. We're going to take a look at a real old deer camp, and we're going to take a look at the Yoopers deer camp, and we have a lot more. But this is about a perspective on deer hunting and attitude. Please stay tuned. Let's take a moment now for a quick outdoor quiz. Now here's something that some of you might not know what it is, but hunters, you sure ought to know. What is this structure? We call this a buck pole. In fact, we're at a camp up here in Menomonie County right now, and this is a permanent structure set up here, and it has pulleys on here so the deer can be hung and displayed in photographs, also for letting them hang to skin them or work on them, whatever you need. Okay. That's the answer to that question. Here's another one. On this buck pole is a deer rib cage hanging there. Obviously, it's been there through the winter. Why is it there? What's that all about? The answer is it hangs there for the chickadees. The rib cage of a deer has a lot of fat on it, not much meat and a lot of fat, and most hunters, after they take the meat off of the carcass, take the loins off of there. The fat on the rib cage can provide some good winter fuel, some good food for the chickadees and some of the birds that come, the cardinals that come and like to get that suet. Also, another hint here is we do have a suet rack right here where you can put suet and fat in there for the chickadees. So that's a feature of a buck pole. I have never seen this before, and I just learned that the rib cage to feed chickadees in the winter, just one more thing you can do with a deer carcass that's useful to wildlife. Maybe you could incorporate that into a new deer camp tradition for you. Take the rib cage, even hang it at home. You don't have to hang it up at deer camp, but the chickadees and the birds will enjoy that throughout the winter. There are other things that have to do with deer camp that make it fun and exciting. You can, of course, put up a temporary deer camp. We saw Trollville a couple weeks ago, that tent that was up. But then there's that old log cabin mystique. Well, let's take a look at a log cabin from the days of old. I'm in awe at this cabin. This, I don't know whether it's Gothic, whether it's Stephen King, whether Cujo's going to jump out of here, or whether Goldilocks is going to be in here, or what. Look at that. That roof has shingles on it. I mean, some relatively new.
Yeah.
And then it has some real old, and then some cedar shingles, the chinking in the log cabin, and that fireplace.
Yeah.
That chimney is wild, and then covered with vines. What could be inside?
Well, right now I'm not too sure what is inside.
What?
Basically, I think this goes back to either to the 20s or the 30s. Some hunters from Chicago owned the land, and they came up and hunted out of these small cabins.
Wow. Well, we can see through the windows here. It doesn't appear that there's anything dangerous in here.
Sometimes there's raccoons and fox that live in here. They have shelter.
What is this, about 16 by 16 or something?
Yeah, probably 20 by 20, somewhere in there. But you got the fireplace, the bunk
Stone
beds
fireplace,
are
yeah.
up on top, and they had, I don't know if they had, I'm sure they had some kind of cooking stove in there, but.
Wow, there's an old boat. Can we go in the door? Look at this. Talk about chinking in the logs, the cement inside there. Oh, and the posts across here. This Bob Vila and Steve would have a ball with this as to what this is about. But these are the supports for the second story. You can see the ends of them right. Oh, and you can see the underneath right here. And this is like going into an old barn.
Yeah.
Wow.
You can see how they have the bunk beds up in the top where they slept, and doesn't look like a lot of room here, but they must have been shorter years ago. But they had a wood stove in here to cook on, and a table, the fireplace, and this was their hunting camp.
It looks...
That's porcupine.
Porcupine droppings. Apparently they like the chimney here, but that's porcupine droppings all through here. Wow. Uh-oh. What is that?
I'm not too sure.
I'm just wondering if it's bear caca. I don't know. This is something else, though. Wow. Talk about history of a hunting camp.
That must have been the master bedroom over here because it's kind of blocked off from
Yeah.
the rest of it.
Wow, Craig, this is wild. And is there any plans to restore this at all or do anything with it?
I think it's a little past restoring.
Oh,
Cedar poles are nice though.
Oh, man, I don't think this is past restoring at all.
It's something you see on like Mackinac Island or
Yeah.
Old Fort.
This is awesome. This is awesome. We'll step out of history here into modern Menomonie County. But this is something else. Look at the roof up here.
Yep.
That's old. What history these walls must be able to tell.
And look, a beer can from the past.
Oh,
No, it's a new one.
it is a new one?
Yes.
High Life? They still make this? Okay.
That's the only one.
That is an older one. I gotta grab that one. That's old enough.
You want some?
Looks older to me.
I'll let you go dig through the pit. There'll probably be Menomonie. You gotta close the door. Something might get in there.
The theme of this show is perspectives on deer hunting. And one thing that I think is fun is to rummage around and look at the history and get sidetracked on hunting and gathering and collecting of different types. Well, here's one thing. For example, this knife right here, this buck knife, Tim Farragon found this stuck into a tree. This was back in December of the mid-1980s, a buck knife, very serviceable, but somebody stuck it in there and forgot it. Keep your eye out for things that you can find that people have left behind. Up at that camp with Craig Lauerman at Henry Lauerman's camp, also came across a couple of old clay pigeons. So I decided to make a clay pigeon collection. In one old foundation of an old building there, found a couple light bulbs like this, which kind of fascinated me. So I've decided I'll have some old light bulbs here at the museum. I just think they're cool. And of course, the cans. Beer cans are kind of characteristic, or at least known to be associated with deer camps, after hours especially. We can't deny that. I think it's fun to collect things like that, but